Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's up? Welcome to the statement. uh, I'm Manny. I'm the host, the MC, the one that you always go ahead and see. As normal, we have the big guy right over here, Grady, aka Baby Trav. What's
What's
poppin',
happening?
Grady?
What's happening?
Oh God! All right, sorry for the laughing before the episode, y'all. As normal, me and Grady are some absolute fucking clowns.
Goons.
Um, yeah, if only y'all heard, if only y'all heard what was said before this episode started.
Anyways, let's get into the topic today, shall we?
Shit. Okay, so topic today: the NFL season has blessed us with a lot of highs. It has also tortured us with a lot of lows. I would know. I've lost some money on those lows. Um, And through those highs and lows, the top two picks in the draft, first pick, Bryce Young, second pick, CJ Stroud, they have been prime examples, A and B, of the highs and the lows that you can go ahead and deal with in the NFL. Hold on. I see blue dots in my face. Okay. Bryce Young, halted as the number one pick. Carolina's out here saying that's our guy. That's the number one, the Heisman Trophy winner. You know, the one of the most celebrated quarterbacks, if not the most celebrated quarterback in Alabama history. Then you have CJ Stroud, the dude who was, even though he was pretty highly recruited coming out of high school, still kind of on that underdog kind of vibe, had something to prove, goes to Ohio State, sits behind Justin Fields, waits his turn, comes onto the field, keeps the tradition, like, you know what I'm saying? Gets picked second overall, still doubted on. You know what I'm saying? Even after what he did at Ohio State, we can go more into that in a little bit. Gets picked number 2 by the Houston Texans, and to probably many people's surprise, especially Carolina natives, maybe not to the surprise of the people within the Houston Texans organization, CJ Stroud has been balling his fucking brains out, dude. He has been performing like crazy.
Let's pull up some of his
But
stats, bro.
but
Like,
yo, it's kind of wild how these two, young men. I'm gonna call them young men because I'm a young man. They're in my age group, so these two young men, just like ourselves, have had totally different careers so far through the first 13 weeks of the NFL.
and again,
Wild,
it's crazy how the trajectory of both have turned out. Like
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence when he was drafted. Even though he got drafted to the Jaguars. Same thing with Bryce Young. It's the Panthers, but still, everybody was like, "Yo, he's the number one. He's the guy." Like
yeah.
he's gonna find a way. Remember what
Trevor
Trevor did?
has though.
Yeah, has. But remember what happened his first year?
Yeah,
Complete,
his first year with Urban
completely
Meyer.
different. Same thing for Bryce Young right now. Am I confident he might get it? I think he might be on a similar path as Trevor Lawrence. I'm not going to say, his success is going to turn out as because Trevor's turned it around. Trevor's figured it out. He
Yeah.
bought in. He got to know the system.
But I think the reason that Trevor turned it around was because Doug Peterson became his head coach, and like Doug Peterson has already been established in the NFL. The second as a head coach, you win a Super Bowl, you go ahead and instantly gain a large amount of respect.
Absolutely,
Until you do something to basically lose that respect, it's
you're
theirs
up.
for you to keep. So
Agree.
like guys like Bruce Arian, Doug Peterson, Pete Carroll has what, one? Yeah, he only has one with Russell Wilson, right? In Seattle?
But he has two. But
No, I could have sworn he only has one.
where?
They've been to two, but they only win one. Because the first time they got dusted by no. They got
Yeah.
beat by the Patriots and they dusted the
Oh no,
Broncos.
right. My bad. Yep, it was that next year. Yeah, my apologies. It
So
was that next year
Pete
they went back.
Carroll, Mike Tomlin has two. I already said Bruce Arians, but guys like that, guys who have won one Super Bowl. Now, guys who have won a Super Bowl that kind of got discredited is John Gruden. He won one, and then we've seen where his career has gone, especially because of the comments that he said.
Whatever.
Yeah, but still, Doug Peterson, established head coach. Bryce Young does not have that anymore. Frank
And
Reich has been
especially that they're
fired.
got out of there. Frank Reich. See you later.
Frank lasted to what, week 11? and then gone. And I think what's being publicized much more now is Panthers owner David Tepper. I don't know if you've been going ahead and have seen some of the comments that he's made throughout the year in regards to Carolina, but bro, he basically went ahead and straight up said, "Yeah, so CJ Stroud was the guy that I originally wanted. That was the guy I thought we were gonna get. Then we went ahead and we picked Bryce Young. And don't get it twisted though. We are totally confident in our pick. We love Bryce Young. We are confident." Then, motherfucker, why'd you go ahead and say what you said? Even if you're not a football guy, just as a businessman, you don't go ahead and make a comment like that about anyone, let
bro.
alone on the NFL platform about the first overall pick in the draft.
Bro, if you and I know about this, well, I couldn't imagine what it would be like to hear, the top guy of your organization,
A billionaire.
a billionaire, the person who brought you here, you know, say, "Yeah, hey, I wish we had taken the number 2 guy." Dude, I would not want to step foot on any part of the organization ever again, cuz it's like, dude, if my number
Yeah.
1 guy doesn't have faith in me, why the hell am I going to try, you know? And I
Like
hate
like
and
just
it's just unfortunate, but
let's just go ahead and put this into context for a second. Okay? Let's go ahead and get something well established. As a quarterback in the NFL, we have seen what has happened to quarterbacks when they have confidence and when they lose their confidence. Confidence for a quarterback is honestly almost as valuable as availability. Availability is always the best ability in sports. You have to be on the field to even do anything in the first place. It doesn't matter how talented you are. If you're injured, you're hurt, you're not playing on the field, your talent means nothing.
right.
But confidence for a quarterback is huge, huge. We've seen guys like Cam Newton. We've seen guys like Nick Foles. We've seen guys like Joe Flacco. We've seen guys like Carson Wentz go ahead and have phenomenal seasons, Super Bowl winning seasons, lose their confidence and their careers totally derail. They are nowhere near the same quarterback. The most recent example that I can think of right now that we're seeing before our own eyes is Deshaun Watson. Confidence when he was in Houston, all time high. Dude was an MVP candidate. He had all his crazy life mumbo jumbo happen to him, and his confidence has kind of veered off a little bit, and his play has reflected. Like, did you know, bro? In Madden, he's like a 70 something overall. He's like
Wow.
a 73 or 74.
Wow. I mean, look, again, I mean, I totally agree with your point. Just Deshaun Watson might have been like a little outlandish example, just because, like, his outside of the NFL situation did put him on rest for a while.
Yeah.
Besides, that's not the point though. The point is, I completely agree with you um, in the confidence piece. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Bryce,
And,
where's his confidence now that his owner basically told him that he didn't want him?
and there's no like drive. Like, again, just comparing it to CJ. His stats tell you, his game log and stats tell you that he's got that fire every single weekend.
Yeah,
He
for sure.
got that drive, he's got that hunger to constantly do better. I'm not saying Bryce's don't show that, but again, it's not as prominent, and again, it definitely doesn't help you at all when your owner is caught saying, "Yeah, hey, I wish we went with the other guy." It's like, all right, why am I going to give you 100%? Why am I going to give you my all? You know?
Yeah, like right now, bro, the big thing is like, yo, the entire city of Houston is behind this man CJ Stroud. And let's not forget, Houston is a huge city. A huge city. You know you can fit Connecticut inside of Houston, right?
Mm.
I'm pretty sure you can fit the state of Connecticut. You
You
can
could fit the
fit
whole
in.
state of Connecticut in Houston.
I'm pretty sure you can fit the state of Connecticut with inside the city of Houston. That's how big Houston is.
Ah, shit.
Yeah,
Now,
bro.
now I got to fact check that.
Houston, I'm pretty sure has like multiple area codes. That's how big it is.
Oh, look at that. Can Connecticut fit inside Houston?
Right? It says that it's the same size, right? If not bigger.
Says, yeah, it's bigger than it. So yeah,
Okay.
that's crazy.
So basically CJ Stroud has a state's worth of people inside of Houston, if not more, supporting him. Bryce Young doesn't even have his own owner.
Yeah, that's my
supporting him. It's
that's
kind of like that fake love kind of thing, like Drake's song, "Fake Love." That's basically what David Tepper is given. Stop it. Drake hit my number one on my Apple most listened to list,
it did
but
do.
Drake went off this year. But we're not a music channel. We talk football here. Um, but Bryce Young don't even have his own owner behind his back, and I feel so bad for Bryce because it's kind of that situation where, quite honestly, bro, how do you move forward knowing that your own owner don't mess with you and he's not even giving you the tools to succeed at all? Like Trevor Lawrence had Shad Khan, I think is his name, the owner of the Jaguars, and he got Urban out of there and he said, I'm going to, Trevor, you're my guy, supporting you. I'm going to get you a stud coach. We're going to get you Dougie P. He's won a Super Bowl before. Good offensive mind. Perfect to go ahead and help you develop in your career. We haven't seen yet what David Tepper is going to do. And if history is any, sort of sign of what's to come in the future, it's not looking good for Bryce Young's career. And
I
I saw it on ESPN like 2 days ago that a GM reached out to one of the ESPN analysts, bro, and said that Bryce Young should ask for a trade. He's just too good of a guy to do it, though. This is a GM.
and they know what the hell they're talking about. I don't know, man. I I agree. If things don't change in Carolina, like obviously they're changing. They're trying to get themselves a new head coach. Duh. But if things really don't go positively and improvements are made, I'd say get the hell out of there. But then again, though, that's again because what he hired up again. I'm comparing to Trevor Lawrence. Um, they brought Dougie P in when after year one or year two.
After year one, Dougie P came in.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so I think Urban didn't even finish the season out
Mm,
because so he didn't even finish the season out. They had an interim coach go ahead and like fill in the last few games, and then Doug Peterson got hired.
hmm Either way, Bryce's situation's a little finicky just because obviously you want him to do good. He's the number
Yeah,
one was the number one overall pick. It's hard to see him struggle, so easy to be like, he's a bust, whatever.
and bro, CJ Stroud has arguably the coach of the year in D'Amico Ryans.
And you could see it, and you could see that. You could see the influence of that, and you could see around. You could see the influence of the receivers that
Like
are
it's
growing. By the way, speaking of, can we? Yeah, can we? Well, let's just focus on CJ now. CJ, while growing himself, is also growing these wide receivers around him, like
yeah,
Nico Collins, for example. I've had him in fantasy for the past 2 years, and he's kind of been actually kind of he's been a great flex kind of guy for me. But dude, he's like my
yeah,
start. He's my start. He's my wide receiver two, I think, right now. He's turned into an absolute dog. Tank
yeah,
Dell, his name. Him
yeah.
and
Tank Dell,
Tank,
he's the rookie out of the University of Houston.
like that pair right now, CJ and him right now, are
They're setting rookie records together.
they are. I'm pretty.
Like
It was
they're
the game against it was the Buccaneers one when he had 470. He had 470 yards, and I think it was every single one of his starting receivers had
had
I think
over
a touchdown,
yeah,
and it definitely had over 100 yards. And I think that was
yeah.
most of those most of
That was
those.
the game that it was Tank Dell, Noah Brown, Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz. Those are the
Up,
four targets
up.
that are huge right now for CJ. And the crazy part about him, exclude Tank Dell because he's a rookie. These three guys were never viewed as top targets in
Mm-mm.
the league. Like Dalton Schultz, former Cowboy, they let him walk.
He did his
They
job.
they they
Job
straight
as
up just let Dalton walk. They didn't even try and make a huge effort to re-sign him. Noah Brown before this season was not really talked about like that. He was nowhere near a household name. He was just another guy. But now he's putting up numbers. Now he's much more well known to NFL enthusiasts. And then Nico Collins, same thing. He's another guy. And now he's not just another guy. He's a guy that's putting up numbers in the NFL. So like there's actual good tape on all of these guys now, but especially Tank Dell. Tank Dell is somebody who I legitimately think in that offense is someone to be scared of because he's shifty as all hell. He runs real clean routes. He's reliable and has built a really good connection with, dare I say, his Pro Bowl quarterback.
You think so?
People are putting CJ Stroud in the MVP conversation. So if they're putting him in the MVP conversation, what does that say to his Pro Bowl status? Because we know the Texans aren't going to the Super Bowl, and that's the only thing that stops a player from going to the Pro Bowl is if they're playing in the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in another day, I think that we can talk about. I personally think that the Pro Bowl should be held after the Super Bowl rather than the week before it, but it's whatever.
Cut to another video.
Yeah. Um, but it's just like, so you have four reliable pass catchers. You have somewhat of a good running game. You have a decent offensive line. You arguably have the coach of the year. You have an organization that is behind you.
And it helps when you have an absolute cannon. He's got a cannon of an arm, too, bro.
Yeah, CJ Stroud has a huge arm. But we knew this though. Like
I know.
going into the draft, everybody said that CJ Stroud can make all the throws. The only nod against CJ Stroud was they weren't necessarily too fond of his mobility, and they didn't know how he would go ahead and fare on the NFL stage. They were confident in his ability to make all the throws. They were confident in his ability to go ahead and sit in the pocket, and they knew that he had a chance to be a good QB. But what I don't think anybody outside of Houston really saw was this. He's playing special.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's
He's
playing
playing
some
lights out.
special football right now. And he's showing characteristics and traits that you can never tell. You can never teach. And he's showing traits that like Jalen Hurts is showing this year. They're showing a clutch gene.
It's that dog mentality.
Yeah.
And again, bro, you see that. You see that. Just look at his yards. He's right now through what we've gone through
I think
12.
he's like top 3 in the league in passing yards.
I believe so. I mean, if it makes sense, dude, he's already at 3,266. He's completing 63.7% of his passes. As if you want to do that, let's compare it to our buddy in Carolina over here. 1877.
So almost half.
And all right, Bryce is completing 62% of his passes. But still, he's got nearly double his yards. 13 or 14 less sacks, too. That also, goes.
Yeah, Bryce Young's offensive line is very suspect. His receiving core is suspect too.
Well, I
Like,
take that back.
I'm
I
pretty
take that back.
sure.
I take that back. Sorry, 22 less sacks.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
But like, let's look at the receiving cores. Okay, so CJ Stroud has Dalton Schultz. He has Noah Brown, Nico Collins, and Tank Dell as like his main targets in the receiving core. Bryce Young going into this year, to my knowledge, he had Adam Thielen. He had Laviska Shenault, he had DJ Chark, he had Miles Sanders at the running back, and then I can't remember the name of their tight end. He used to play in Cincinnati for like a year. It was like the year after CJ Uzama left. It was this guy at tight end, and now that tight end he's in Carolina with CJ. Good tight end. He's a pretty good tight end.
Right.
Really no offensive line. Not really much of an offensive line. But the situations are different. Going into the year, CJ Stroud, we all thought, I think Vegas had Carolina like 7.5 wins, and they had Houston. I don't know where they had. Yeah, Vegas had him at 7.5, and Houston wasn't thought to do as well as they're doing now because Houston naturally had the second pick. Carolina traded up for the
They did
first pick. They were
Chicago,
like,
right?
yeah, they were like number 9, and they traded for Chicago's 1. And now Chicago is about to have the 1 this year because of the trade. Which like works out for them because they're clearly gonna need it. But and then so going into the season, everybody thought CJ Stroud, good situation, gonna have a good record. Houston, gonna be a long shot. Now it's totally flipped. Now people are saying Texans have a shot to make the playoffs, and Carolina's probably gonna have the number 1 overall pick that's going to now end up being given to Chicago because of the trade. Wild, bro.
Nuts, nuts. And again, Chicago's kind of taking a sigh of relief here. It's just like, yeah, they drafted a quarterback. We didn't need a quarterback. We traded and now it's just like, yeah, they're
There's
underperforming like crazy.
there's still a lot of uncertainty in Chicago, and a lot of people are calling for Justin Fields' jobs. We could always talk about that too at a later date. I still think that they should keep Justin Fields and build more around him, because there's more and more uncertainty whether or not Caleb Williams is going to go even declare for the draft this year. I think that if Caleb Williams doesn't declare, I think what Chicago should probably go ahead and do is trade back, stay within the top five, and then have two top 10 picks within the first round.
Hmm.
But like I said, that's a
That's
conversation for another time.
for another time. Now, here's the question for you, because we've
Yeah.
been looking at the stats, we've been looking at who's literally having the better year and who
Hmm.
we thought was to have a better year by paper. We're looking at it on paper. We pulled up NFL stats, we pulled up collegiate stats. In your
Yeah.
opinion,
Okay.
how is the story unfolding? Like, let's take it back to draft night. Who did you
Honestly,
who did you
the
think was gonna are these results as they are today surprising you?
these results, yeah, the results are really surprising me, dude. I was a huge fan of Bryce Young. I still am a huge fan of Bryce Young. I think that there is no way in hell that they just gave him the Heisman Trophy. Like, he deserved it. He earned it. He played like a madman. Like, he was sensational. Was he the best Heisman winner of all time? No, but he was definitely deserving of the Heisman the year that he won it. And I think that talent and that ability, didn't just leave him. He's still insanely good. And I think he's probably just in a really shitty situation. He has a buffoon for an owner. He doesn't have a coaching staff that is, even viable right now because it's all, last second replacements. He doesn't have an offensive line to protect him. And, he has unreliable receivers. Like, it's kind of, and not to make things, even worse, but like watching the play calling selection this year for Carolina, they're dumb as shit. Like, nah, like they're legitimately dumb as shit. Like in the last episode when I was talking about, Matt Canada being a bad offensive coordinator and that I could go onto the field and call better play calls, I think even more so for Carolina, because it's kind of just like, they're an offense that is notorious, bro, for third and longs calling screenplays.
Yeah, like that or like a
Like, I hate when offensive coordinators go ahead and call shitty screenplays on third and long situations, because basically at that point you're submitting to the other team and telling them this drive is done. We're just going to try and gain some yards back so that way we have a little bit more room to punt the football. Like, no, bro, fuck that. Go for the first down still. You have one more opportunity and then punt the football. You're telling me that your fucking punter can't go ahead and suffice with another 2-3 yards? Because that's usually what Carolina got when they were calling screenplays. It either went -2 yards or +2 yards. The screenplays usually don't work like that because they don't have a Christian McCaffrey. They don't have a Debo Samuel. They don't have a Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle or just a guy who give him the ball in space and let him work. They don't have that. They have receivers in Carolina that give them their routes and just throw it to them. They are pass catchers. They are not yak guys.
and they're not route runners either. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
Adam Thielen's that dude. Adam Thielen is
You
still that
you've
dude.
been
Don't
you've been talking about him all year. I don't.
I love Adam Thielen, bro. He's an incredible locker room guy. He's a
Yes,
well-established veteran. He's a pro's
yes.
pro. You're not gonna have to worry about him getting in trouble. You're not gonna have to worry about him going ahead and getting suspended. The worst thing for Adam Thielen is that you every now and then he's gonna get hurt. But that's the NFL.
Dude, he's getting
Everybody gets hurt.
old, bro. He's getting
He's
old
like 32.
for a receiver. That's old.
Jerry Rice played till he was like fucking 40.
Jerry Rice, Adam Thielen.
I understand, but there's other guys who, at the receiver who played till they're old. Larry Fitzgerald played till he was older. Now, I'm not saying Adam Thielen is these guys, but Adam Thielen ain't no scrub, bro. You forget Adam Thielen got a few, multiple 1,000-yard seasons under his belt.
I know that. I know that. Look,
Now, granted, I'm not saying he's a top tier guy because he's always been second fiddle up until this point in his career where he is the number one now. But still, he's that dude.
Anyway, I don't even know how we got back to Adam Thielen. Um,
I was expecting a lot from Carolina this year, and the way that the stories have unfolded. To get back to your question, the way
mhm,
that the stories have unfolded is totally opposite from what I thought they would unfold. I thought C.J. Stroud would be good because I believe in C.J. Stroud. That dude played really well in Ohio State, but I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting him in year
mhm,
one, to turn around the Houston franchise, who I also thought was a dumpster fire of a franchise, especially seeing how the whole Deshaun Watson situation went over. But looking at it now, they won the Deshaun Watson trade because Deshaun's playing like shit, and they got a bunch of picks from Cleveland. Okay, they got a replacement who's a better quarterback than Deshaun, and they're moving forward. I
mhm,
thought that Carolina would repeat like the same win total as last year because their coaching staff going into this year was viewed upon the NFL widely regarded to as an all-star crew. There was high expectations for this coaching staff. They had Frank Reich, they had Josh McCown as the QB coach, who was a longtime NFL veteran, a lot of experience in the locker rooms, and he's a good person to help develop, especially a young quarterback, because he did it for the latter half of his career.
mhm.
And then you had some other coaches there who had real good experience throughout multiple franchises, and they just didn't put up no results. Now, you could say that, the play calling and the execution of Carolina is what really did it into them. But like at the same time, I didn't think that they were going to be 1-10 at this point. 1-10 is terrible, dog.
1 in 10 is
The Cardinals are doing better than them, and they have had backups play most of the year up until like these last 2-3 weeks.
all
And
right.
even then, Kyler just got shat on not that long ago. I think this past week, they like Zach Ertz requested a trade, and then they just released him.
Yeah, they just tonight they just released.
Yeah, I saw the report today.
Mhm.
Like, bro, like Carolina, bro, is in shambles right
Yeah.
now. I wasn't expecting them to be in shambles.
Well, and I find it absolutely hilarious out of this whole freaking discussion that their one win is against the Texans too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And it
I
was a nail
forgot
biter.
that.
It was 15-13, an absolute shootout.
So when we think about it, bro, there is a large chance that the Panthers could be winless right now. Think
Yeah.
about it. Three or
Yes.
four plays go the other way in that game against the Texans, and the Texans could have easily won.
Yes, dude. This was Bryce's. At least we'll talk about in terms of actually in terms of QBR, it was his best. It was 103.6. In terms of passing yards, it was his second highest so far on the season. All right, and for
Mm-hmm.
CJ, that was his worst by a mile. So
For a
it's just,
rookie to have at least one really bad game, I'm not
no,
gonna
that's
shit on him. He's a rookie.
understood. But it's just funny how, of course, his worst game it's against the Texans or against the.
Yeah.
But look here, my take now. Um, I remember coming into the season, I was definitely more riding the Bryce Young bandwagon. I
Yeah, me
definitely
too.
thought because again, a QB from Bama.
Yeah.
What's not to like? You know what I'm saying? What's
Mm-hmm.
why shouldn't I have the most high expectations? Look at the history. You know what I'm saying? CJ Stroud, this kid from Ohio State, he put on like absolute dog throughout the year. All right, he's cool. I like him. I think second round. I think Bryce Young was number one. Bryce or CJ number two. I thought it was good. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what? I really want CJ to do well, but I am definitely more of a Bryce Young fan.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole thing is completely surprising. Again, it's not surprising that you lose a couple games. Like, look, if the Panthers kind of had a negative record, I'd understand it. It's your rookie year. You know, you're getting to learn the
Yeah.
system, whatever. 1 in 10 is abysmal, dog. 1 in 10 is terrible. And again, I really hate to compare it to Trevor Lawrence because I've been doing that all freaking night. But what was their record when his first year? I don't think it was as bad as 1-10. I'll tell you that.
No, it definitely wasn't as bad as 1-10.
It was
They
bad.
ended up going ahead in like the like those last few games with the
They picked
interim
it up.
coach. I think they won a few.
Either way, look, because everybody was like, Trevor Lawrence is a bust, whatever, whatever. And that was with like I don't know, we'll call it 5-11 record or whatever.
Yeah,
Because
now they're 8-3.
they're 1-10. 1-10. You've
Yeah,
only gotten one win on the season. And
and it could
these,
have easily been an L.
correct. And the rest of these games have been like one, two, three, four have been within a touch, have been within a score.
One score. Yeah,
Yeah. What did I say? Three or four. Most of those have been absolute d- terrible.
I
So
know, bro. It's
this
wild.
Bryce Young and CJ Stroud's output is completely surprising me. I'm not like mad about it. You
Yeah.
know, it's almost kind of a nice change of pace, kind of because what Bama quarterback doesn't do well. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like,
Mac Jones.
okay, good comparison. Fair
So,
enough.
so keep in mind, bro. Like there have been a really good amount of Alabama quarterbacks to come into the NFL since the Nick Saban era had started.
I agree.
And up until I would say Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa, a lot of them really haven't had the traction in the NFL like that. Alabama has been notorious for popping out first rounders that have played really well in the NFL for a very long time now. Like, think about this. Nick Saban has more Alabama first rounders than he does losses.
Yeah, that's nuts.
And a lot of those first rounders in Alabama that he has play really fucking well in the league. Like, if you were to go ahead and comprise a roster of strictly Alabama football players under Nick Saban's tenure, not before Nick Saban, just strictly during Nick Saban's tenure, they're probably the heavy favorites to win the Super Bowl.
I
Because
wouldn't
think
argue.
about it, your starting QBs are Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. Your third string would probably be Bryce Young, you know? And then your running back, you got Derrick Henry, you got Josh Jacobs, you got Najee Harris, you got Brian Robinson,
Kidding me? Prime Mark Ingram.
you know? Trent Richardson was another name, but he didn't do well in the NFL.
Absolutely, he was an absolute dog in
And then
college.
there's other guys like Damian Harris is another name. He played in New England for a long time. I forgot which team he's on now, but Alabama has produced a ton. Oh, Alvin Kamara played at Bama for a year. Technically, he's a Tennessee product because he played most of his career at Tennessee,
So he's
but he was in that room.
he's a Tennessee
Yeah,
product. That's
yeah.
been
But
like
he played under Saban for at least like a year.
that's like Burrow saying he's a where was
Yeah,
he?
Ohio
Ohio State.
State guy.
Yeah.
TJ Yeldon was another name. TJ had a few good seasons in the NFL. They had
Not
a
about
lot.
Jay
And
Yeldon.
then don't forget the litany of receivers they have. Huge.
We
You want
don't.
to go? You want to? Yeah, I don't need nah. I'm gonna say a few names.
All right.
Fucking
Julio.
Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Jerry Judy, Henry Ruggs, Jalen Waddle, Amari Cooper. That's six names right now of dudes who are just like mind
Dog.
blowingly good.
Dog.
Henry Ruggs is not playing the league, but we knew he was good before he got arrested. That boy was a baller.
He
They
was
have they
scary.
have DBs out the ass. They have linebackers out the ass. They had defensive linemen. They probably even have good fullbacks. You could probably use extra linebackers and defensive tackles that can't make the starting cut and just throw one of them motherfuckers over at fullback. That's how deep Alabama football is, you know? But in the quarterback situation, it's not a huge list.
I
But
would so look. If we want to get technical,
yeah,
I would disagree. If like just like grand scheme of things, yes, they've still. I'd still say Bama still produced like dogs. Like I'm pretty sure.
yeah.
Oh wait, never mind. This guy I was thinking of. But anyway, look, no, a bunch of those guys, like I'd say, either were projected because Mac Jones was when he came in was projected to like I don't want to say be like I remember projections were he's going to be good, but it was like he's not going to be star studded.
Yeah.
But
My thing with Mac Jones, bro, I'm never gonna like him
mhm.
ever I'm never gonna like him. I didn't like him in college. I didn't like him when he got drafted. And the year that he got drafted, he went 15 to the Patriots. I remember it just like it was yesterday. The rumors going up into that draft was that San Fran was gonna pick him with the third pick. I was praying for that to happen, bro, because I was just like, good, get him off the board into another franchise who I don't want to see win. That way, New England can not pick him. And then it just so happens that we
Boom.
picked him. And I know for a fact that Bill regrets that, just like he probably regrets like 40, 50, 60 other picks in the last 3, 4 years. But I hate Mac Jones as a football player.
Tell me how you really feel.
I dude, like I for the longest I would not call him Mac Jones. It was always Michaela or Mac and Cheese. That was like the names that I would go ahead and call. I would not give him the status. It was like when Skip Bayless wouldn't call Kawhi Kawhi. He would always call him number two or something like that. It's the same thing. It was always Michaela or Mac and Cheese.
Mm.
So it's just like Bama has produced three quarterbacks I can say under the Nick Saban era that are still good in my eyes. Jalen, Tua, and Bryce. Fuck Mac Jones. Absolutely. I want to make a t-shirt about it one day where it
You
says fuck Mac Jones.
could
I'm
do
gonna
that.
make a diss track one day too. Watch. I'm gonna make a diss track, I promise.
The statement
Um
podcast, you heard it here first. Manny's diss
Facts. We're
track.
gonna we gonna we gonna
Manny's
put a track. I'm gonna make it bigger than anything Zavi has dropped. Um
shout out Zavi. Shots fired at Zavi.
Bow, 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 bow,
Uh
bow,
oh.
bow.
Nah, but see though, that's just your point. Your point just kind of reinforces this whole debate. It is just crazy that Mac Jones, that Bryce is just having such a down, 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 down year. Like it's almost pitiful. It's kind of
Yeah.
sad to watch
But this is
because,
the thing. It's year one. It's year one.
and that's what I'm saying. And again, that's where
My rule of thumb
yep,
is 3 years.
3 years, and that's
Give him
Trev's
three
on
years.
what I believe Trev's on 3 or 4 now, and he's kind
I
of
think
got
he's
it
on three. I think he's on three. Yeah. But we know Trev. We know what Trev is now.
exactly.
First year was a dumpster fire. Jalen Hurts' first year wasn't that great. Joe Burrow's first year, it was pretty good, and then he got hurt. Deshaun
Hmm.
Watson's first year, pretty good, then he got hurt. So
Hmm.
technically, we can't call those good years.
I
So
agree.
year one is literally just for a quarterback to learn the NFL and to be introduced to the speed of the game and how
Or
to operate the game.
or
Or
Xavier
what?
with C, take it and fucking run with it. It's
Oh
kind of
yeah,
like
he
I feel like this kind of QB comparison just kind of goes to show you people who really get it and people who like because just some people get it. Plays,
yeah.
formats, shit just clicks for some people. Some people
Yeah,
just
I think the difference with CJ, especially right now, is I think that he's doing a really good job of going ahead, listening to his coaches, taking what the defense is giving him, being comfortable, being confident. Like he seems to be reading defenses pretty well. He does a great job at throwing his receivers open rather than waiting for his receivers
dude,
to
he's
get
like
open and
five
then throw
picks,
it.
5 picks
Yeah,
all
I
year.
know he's really gone ahead and taken, you know, whatever advice he's being given, he's taken it and he's running with it. Outside of going ahead and picking Ohio State in the game over Michigan, like the only real big area that he was just completely whiffed on. But
You
he's an
have to.
Ohio State guy, so
Yeah, I
it's
was gonna
kind of
say,
just like
not gonna pick you're not gonna pick your alma mater. Come on now.
yeah. But you know what? Like he has beyond impressed everyone, and like dare I say, he has just as good as a shot as any quarterback right now that isn't elite and a superstar to become the next elite superstar.
If he keep, I think. Look again. He keeps taking his advice from his QB coach. He keeps honing his craft. He keeps fucking
Yeah.
putting up numbers like this. I'm not going to disagree with you whatsoever. I don't see
Yeah.
why he wouldn't.
I think that the if let's say they don't make the playoffs this year, or they make the playoffs and they lose in the first round, I think that if he gives us a second year of play like this, where he's incredible, I'm already going to throw him into the elite category. If he gives me 2 straight years of good quarterback play like he's playing right now, I will call him an elite quarterback. The reason that I say 2 years is because once you, as a quarterback, have a full year of starting and tape for NFL defensive coordinators to go ahead and get their hands on, if those coordinators are able to adjust, slow you down, and not make you the same quarterback, then you become predictable. Then you're no longer elite. My biggest example, Geno Smith last year played incredible. This year, not so much. Last year was like his first full year starting with Seattle. This year, he's kind of playing mid. Not good, not great. Yeah, he's playing good, not great. He's not playing bad,
but
but
he's doing hell of a
defensive
lot.
court defensive coordinators are telling him you're not going to be the Geno of last year. So if CJ Stroud can either improve upon this year or play the same, then damn, bro, like ain't nothing at that point going ahead and stopping him, because a season now is 17 games. That's 17 different videos to watch tape on. If you can't, with 17 game tapes, go ahead and understand how to stop him as a quarterback, then you're not going to stop him after 34 games. After 3 seasons, 4 seasons, 5 seasons, he's just going to
The
continue.
number of games got a little hard there, didn't it?
Yeah, I couldn't keep doing it. So let's go. So after 17, after 34, after 51, after 68, after 85, like 102,
All right,
like
all
you
right,
know what
all
I'm
right, all
saying?
right, all right.
Yeah, you get it. All right, I was getting good at adding my 17s, but
There
at
you go.
that point, like after 2 seasons, if he's still balling out, then he's going to continue to keep balling out after the fact. You know
I
what I'm
think
saying?
I
Like
do.
Pat Mahomes won a Super Bowl in his second year. He won
I
an MVP in his first year of starting.
first.
Year
Look,
one didn't play. Year two MVP. Year three Super Bowl. That was Pat Mahomes.
I think this. I look. I like to sum it up and say, as I do for most things, but it's the truth. Honestly, time will tell. I'm really excited to see how CJ finishes out the season.
Yeah,
It's
me
going to
too.
be crucial for Bryce's own personal stock, and personal rep,
Yeah,
how he finishes out the season. Not how the Panthers do. How yes, well, obviously yes, it's gonna they're gonna fucking take into account if he can win football games or not.
yeah. The
But
Panthers will ride as far as Bryce Young takes them.
exactly. Look again. I think just Bryce needs to pick it up to continue even being in conversation. Winning
Yeah,
football games important, but he's got to start playing better if we really
yeah.
want to.
He does. He does.
So I'm really curious and interested to see how the Panthers finish out the season. Because also, fun fact, this is the last little fact I want to just talk about real quick. I saw a post. It said logistically and like statistically, the Panthers are still eligible to make a playoff game.
Yeah, because of
If
how
you if
bad
they
their division is.
their next 5 straight or 6 straight, and God forbid every other team look, it's a very, very, very slim chance, but like it is possible.
Yeah, in order for them to win their division and host a playoff game, they have to win out the rest of the season, and the rest of their division has to play like shit.
Yeah. So likelihood not very high. Possible, yes. But anyway, I'm interested to see how they finish out, kind of what uh the next steps for Bryce are going to be. I want to see, if he does anything different for training and
Yeah.
whatever. CJ, I
What?
just want seeing CJ ride high, bro. I want him to
Yeah.
I want him to finish up the season really, really strong. It'd be sick if he could lead the Texans to a playoff game. Um,
No,
and I have
definitely.
really, really high hopes for him. Look, unless he absolutely shits the bed for the rest of the season,
Hmm.
I don't see this success going dwindling. I think it's kind of for CJ. We're only going to keep climbing.
And I mean, I would hope so, and I think that I would hope the same for Bryce. Um, I'm not necessarily saying that I want Bryce to go ahead and turn the Carolina Panthers, excuse me, into consistent playoff contenders. But what I would like to see is I would like to see improvement, and I would like to see Bryce Young become one of those quarterbacks. I think the next step for Bryce Young, you had a bad season, show the NFL world that you're the type of quarterback. Hey, like yo, just give me some weapons and we gonna win some games.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just leave me out on the field to fight, the horde by myself.
Give me another
Give me some weapons.
help. Give me some help.
Yeah. It's like that one Kevin Hart meme. Help me! Help me! No, it's not.
You know damn well I can't say that shit. Come on now.
But no, I'm not gonna say that on the podcast. But you know what I'm saying? Like it's just one of those things that he needs help. He do. I
And we'll
think
see.
he's good when he has help because look what he was doing at Alabama his last year when he didn't have no help.
Not as good as this prior year, I'll tell you that. It was like 1,000+ yard different season. You know what I'm saying? I think he finished that last year at Bama at like 32, 33. Let
But
me
he
see.
still had a real good year, even with the lack of surrounding talent. The
Correct.
year he won the Heisman, that's when he had people with him. The year he didn't have the Heisman, he didn't have much people with him. It's kind of like Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott wasn't really doing shit until he got a number one.
Well, look,
Once he got Amari Cooper, his whole thing changed.
I'll tell you right now. I'm not going to talk nothing positive about the Cowboys because I hate the Cowboys. So yes, cool. You got Amari Cooper, whatever, whatever. I hate the
But
Cowboys.
yeah. On that note, I think on that. Me too. Me too. But nah, I think on that note, we've definitely gone ahead and exhausted out, all the opinions on CJ Stroud and where CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, and where their careers could end up going. I think the people are probably tired of us by now. Anything send off you want to say before we go ahead and say goodbye to the people?
Let's just see where time takes us. It's going to be interesting. It'll be interesting in about a month when we have a discussion again, for sure. And I think we should revisit this debate probably by the end of the season, and we'll see
Yeah,
if
I think come end of season time when the draft rolls around, we could retouch on this.
absolutely. Other than that, though, thanks for tuning in, y'all.
But
Appreciate you
on
guys.
that note, facts to everybody out there going ahead and watching. Thank you for going ahead and listening to us to this point. As always, we love you. Make sure to go ahead and follow us on TikTok at the Statement Sports Podcast. And yeah, that's it. Deuces.